Okay, please confirm regarding the audio clarity and visibility. So I have displayed decision trees. So as you are aware, we were discussing decision trees, few fundamental concepts of it. We understood how decision tree could help us do the required classification. So we'll just recap it and we'll continue with a rule-based classifier. So please confirm whether you're able to see a decision tree. Once again, please give me your confirmation. Please tell me whether you're able to see a decision tree examples on the screen. Okay, so we'll start with the session. So we understood what is a decision tree. Okay, so we need to build a classifier which will classify our data object or record into class A, class B, class C. We understood the class A, class B will be defined by us. Okay, so the classifier will not decide what should be class A, what should be class B. Okay, so it's a predefined data that is given to the classifier. I'll tell the classifier that I want class A, I want this as class B. For example, we had taken the email classifier. So I informed the classifier that spam should be one class, non-spam messages should go to other class, meaning that the class information or class label is given by us to the classifier. So that was one point. Second point is the classifier is supervised, meaning that you need to train the classifier. So you will have some existing data. Okay, we saw it in many examples. Okay, we had some existing data. With this existing data, you will build the classifier and you will train the classifier. That is the second point. Now, how you can do it? So one of the ways of doing it we explored. It was decision tree. Okay, so you can construct a decision tree with existing records. Please note, this was my existing record. This was my existing database. With this existing database, I constructed a decision tree. Now, how this decision tree will help me? This will help me decide to which class the input data should go and sit. Okay, even if it is a new data, to which class it should go. So that will be decided by the decision tree. Okay. So in this example, you can see we are deciding whether a loan amount should be given to the uh, specific loan applicant or not. Okay. So the classes are approve or reject. Okay. So these are the classes. So these classes were predefined. As I already mentioned, classes will be predefined. So a decision tree has been constructed. You can see the decision tree being displayed on the screen. This is the decision tree. Okay. So how this decision tree was constructed? So this decision tree was constructed based on the previous data that was available. Okay. Now, what are the components in this decision tree? So as you can see, there are nodes. Okay. At the root level, also at the intermediary level. Also, we have leaf nodes, which are nothing but class labels. Okay, so you can see this is one node, employed. Okay, it is the root node. These are few nodes, credit score and income. Okay, so these are intermediary nodes, and this is our leaf node. Okay, so what you observe with the leaf node? So leaf node is nothing but the class label. Okay, so the application here is, the problem here is whether the loan should be accepted or rejected. Okay. So now how the decision tree was constructed. See, the decision tree was constructed by considering the attributes as nodes. Okay. Now, to decide on whether the loan amount should be approved or not, these are the attributes that have been selected. Whether the person is employed, okay, that is a root node. Why it has been selected as a root node? So already repeatedly I have told you it is through gain and confidence. But now at this point we will assume employed is the root node with the belief that if he is employed, he'll be able to repay back the loan amount. Okay. So that has been taken. Now, so if he is employed and if he is having a very high income, so loan should be approved. If he is employed and if his income level is low, it is rejected. Okay. So one more thing we have seen, if he is not employed, does it mean that we should not give him the loan? No. If he is not employed, we will see his previous track record, previous credit score. So what is a credit score here? So his previous history of repaying the loan amounts, paying the interest rate. So that will be observed, and the automated system will decide whether to approve or reject the loan. So the bottom line here is decision tree is constructed based on historical data or previous data that was available. That is the first point. Second point, decision tree will be constructed based on using attributes. Okay, these are the attributes: employed, credit score, income. Third point, the leaf node of a decision tree will be the class label. For example, here approve, reject. If you remember, I had given one example in the internals of deciding whether the students in MIT canteen whose data was captured by the camera belong to MIT or they are outsiders. Okay. So I saw a few answers and majority of the answers were wrong. See, what is the thing that you need to do in constructing the decision tree? Okay. So first you should take identify attributes which will help me decide on the class. What are the classes here? First, what are the classes for that specific problem? See, the classes were whether he is an MIT student or a non-MIT student. He is a non-MITian, meaning that he is an outsider. Okay, so two classes. So outsider is one class. And for a MIT student, one more specification was given. You should identify to which year he belongs. Okay. So what you should have done in that problem? Now you need to take an attribute which will help me clearly identify whether he is an MIT student or a non-MIT student. Okay. Now what may be that attribute? See, many attributes may be there. One possible attribute may be ID card. Okay. So your root node maybe should have started with ID card. Okay. So if he is wearing a ID, okay, so we will take him to the MIT part, MIT class. If he is not wearing a ID, he is an outsider. Now, did this solve? Did this solve my problem? No. What was given in the question was, even if he is wearing ID, you need to decide whether he belongs to first year, second year, or third year, or maybe final year. So what do you need to do? You need to introduce one more node. What was that new node? Maybe uniform color. Okay. So uniform color, if it is of maybe specific color 1, it will take him to MIT first year student, color 2, second year student. See, this is how decision tree is constructed. Anyhow, I will push it in your group, the decision tree for that particular specific example and even answers for other problems. Okay. So you can just go through it. So in a nutshell, you need to construct decision trees to build a classifier. Okay. Decision trees are constructed based on previous historical data that is available. From the previous historical data, you will extract the attributes, okay, like what you are seeing here, whether he is employed, what is his credit score, what is his income. You will take these attributes, you will make it as nodes of the tree. You'll use it as nodes of the tree, and using these nodes, you will ensure you will reach a leaf node, okay, that is a class. So these were the fundamentals of a decision tree. So already we had discussed this. So I just took it as a recap because already, almost it was 1 week because of internals we could not conduct the class. Now, continuing with the discussion. So we will go to the next part. So a rule-based classifier. Okay. Previously, we saw one way of building the classifier. Okay, I think better I will demonstrate it through this graphical representation. Okay, so yeah, this would be better. Previously, we understood the database is towards the left hand side. So the left hand side, the class information or class label is towards the right hand side. Okay. In between the left hand side and the right hand side, we have the classifier. Okay, so that is sitting here. Okay. Now, how this classifier was built or how it can be built. So in the previous discussion, we understood this classifier could be built, okay, by constructing a decision tree. We constructed decision tree, okay, and the decision tree was nothing but the classifier. The next question was how this decision tree was constructed. So this decision tree was constructed using the previous training record. Okay, previous data was there. Okay, this was my record. This was my training record. So using this training record, the decision tree was constructed, and this decision tree would help me identify a new record would belong to class A, class B, class C. Okay, so this is how it was done. So there is one more way of doing it. So previously it was decision tree. Now it is rules. Okay, rule-based classifier. So what is a rule-based classifier? So as the name itself is indicating, from the training set, same thing. We will have use a training set. From the training set, you will build rules. That's it. Okay, instead of building decision tree, we will build rules. Rule 1, rule 2, you can see here. In this graphical representation, you can see it is rule 1, rule 2, rule 3 up to rule n. Now the question is how the rules were constructed. So rules were constructed based on the historical data. Now what is the use of this? Now given a new record, completely new record, okay, you gave a new record to the classifier, okay. Now this classifier, based on its previous experience and based on the rule, it can tell me to which class this new record will go and sit, okay, whether it is class A, class B, class C, okay. So this is a rule-based classifier. So once again, I'm repeating, rule-based classifier will construct rules, okay. How rules are built? Rules are simply, it is not built randomly, based on the historical data, okay. The classifier is trained, and in this training process, the classifier will identify rules, the rules for the game, okay. Now what is the use of this? What is the use of constructing rules? So the benefit is, given a new record, completely new situation, okay, the classifier will be in a position to tell whether it belongs to class A, class B, or any class. So hope you are clear with this. Hope you understood what is a rule-based classifier. Still we are not gone into the details. Did you understand what is a rule-based classifier and its need? Okay, for a classification problem. Previously, it was a decision tree. Now it's a different method, different approach, rule-based classifier. So please give me a confirmation whether you have understood this up to this point of time. With your confirmation, I will continue with further details with respect to rule-based classifier. Okay. Okay. So now I will go to further details of rule-based classifier. So please start your knowledge with the basics here. The basic here is we need to build a classifier. Okay, we need to train a classifier which will help us decide to which class a new record should go and sit. Okay, so with these basics we will start. So all the stuff is there in the textbook itself. Whatever you have written here is derived from a textbook. But as you are aware, the key significant details I'll be extracting and I'll be writing here. Okay. So now you can see the first definition. It is indicating what is a rule-based classifier. So rule-based classifier is a technique, okay, for classifying records. Using what? Using if-then-else rules. Okay. So as I already told you, it is one of the techniques. Previously, we saw a technique of decision tree for classifying the records. This is one more technique, okay, for classifying the records. Okay, but how we are doing the classification using rules, and what will be there in the rules? So we will have a syntax similar to if then else. Okay, now it's a general form. You can see how the rule will be in its general form. Okay, so this is how a rule will be. R here stands for the rule number. If you remember in the graphical representation I explained previously, you saw rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4 up to rule n. So that is this component here. Ri is the rule number, whether it's rule 1, rule 2, rule 3. Okay. So followed by the rule number, we have the condition. Okay. So condition is nothing but the rule. For example, if you want to come to MIT, you need to wear ID card. That is one rule. You should not bring the mobile phone. That is one more rule. Okay, you should be in uniform. Maybe that is a third rule. If all the three rules are satisfied, then only you will be allowed inside MIT and you will be called as a MIT student, meaning that that is a class. Okay, it's a class. Same thing here. So we have the conditions here. Okay, so is the student wearing ID card? That is one condition. And one condition will not help me decide on the class. See, if you're just wearing ID card, I cannot decide whether you belong to MIT or not. Maybe I need few more conditions. Second condition, are you wearing uniform? Yes. Okay. So I'll just give this example so that you can relate and try to understand. So the bottom line here is the rules will have a number indicated by Ri. Rules will have few conditions. Okay, that is condition of I. These conditions will help me decide on the class. So towards the left hand side, you have the conditions. These conditions are nothing but the rules. Towards the right hand side, you have the class. Okay. So same thing. So left hand side conditions, right hand side, the conditions are deciding to which class this record or data object belongs to. Okay. Now we have few more terminologies here you should see. The LHS or the rule is also called as antecedent, okay, antecedent or a precondition. Okay, so this is the terminology because this is the deciding factor. Okay, that is why it is called as an antecedent, okay, or precondition. Okay, because this will decide where the record should go and to which class. Okay, so since this is the deciding point, this is the initial point where a decision will be made. So it is called as a precondition. Okay. Now towards the right hand side, you have something rule consequent. See, consequent is nothing but the consequence. Okay. See, if you are wearing ID card, if you are in the right appropriate uniform, okay, what is the consequence? You'll come inside MIT and you'll be sitting in the classroom. That's the consequence. See, that the consequence has been called as a consequent. Okay. So please do not get confused. What is this terminologies? Okay. So some precondition, which is a rule, which is there on the left hand side, will decide what is the consequence or to which class it should go and sit. So this was a general form. This was a general form of a rule based classifier. So the summary here is this general form is having three components. You can identify that. This is the first one. Okay, what is the first component? The rule number, rule 1, rule 2, rule 3. The second component is the condition. Okay, and the third component, okay, so followed by arrow mark is the class. So this rule will help me decide to which class the record belongs to. The same was done in decision tree, please remember. Okay, we here also we are doing the same thing but in a different way. That's it. Now we're getting back to this. Now we will further explore what is there in a condition. Just now we saw towards the left hand side we have a condition. What will be there inside a condition? We will try to explore it. Okay. So this is what is there inside a condition. So I've written here, you can see. So a condition will have an attribute written as A and a value. Okay. In between the attribute and value, we have something called as OP, which is nothing but operator. I know you have not understood this. Once again, I'll go back to my example that I just now gave. If you should be allowed inside MIT, and if you are eligible to sit inside a classroom, so what are the attributes you should have? Okay, first thing I just now told you, you should be wearing a ID card. Okay, so what is the first attribute in my example? What is A1? Okay, so A1 is ID. Okay, A1 is ID. What value should be there inside the ID? Okay, you should be wearing it. Wearing means what? V is equal to yes. Okay, so what is the operator here? Equal to, that's it. See, please understand. Once again, I'm repeating. See, if you directly read the textbook without a listening, definitely you will get confused. To avoid that situation, try to understand the real-time examples that I am giving, with which you can explore these notations, okay, with clarity. Once again, I'm repeating. I want to decide whether a student should sit inside a classroom, whether whether he belongs to MIT. Okay, that is one class. Whether a student belongs to MIT. Okay, so we have few conditions for it, which is there on the left hand side. What are the conditions? So ID card equal to yes. So that is one condition. This is the one condition. So here A1 is equal to ID. A1 is ID card. Operator is equal to V is equal to yes, meaning that ID card equal to yes. This is one condition. Now, my question to you. Now, do you think only one condition will decide whether he should go and sit inside the classroom? No. If you are just wearing the ID card without uniform, maybe you may not be allowed inside a classroom. Meaning that still few more conditions are there, okay, to identify you as an MIT student. And the next condition will be written after a and. You can see this operator. You can see a and. Okay, this and will differentiate or distinguish condition 1 from condition 2. Okay, now what was condition 1? Wearing ID card. Wearing ID card was condition 1. Just now we understood, just based on this condition, we cannot decide whether a student record, student data object can sit inside a classroom in MIT. Okay. So we try to introduce a new condition. This is my second condition, represented by A2 and V2, separated from the first condition by using a AND. Okay. Now what is the second condition? As I already told you, we will check whether he is in the right uniform. He or she is wearing the proper right colored uniform. Okay. So now A2 is equal to A2 is uniform. Okay. OP is equal to V is what? Maybe the color or value S. Okay. So if uniform equal to yes, okay, maybe then we can decide. Yes, he is a MITian, he is not an outsider. Now, why I took up this example just now, because yesterday during internals, maybe you have thought about this. A similar type of situation was given. Okay. So this is how you identify attributes and values. Now, please note the attributes and values are not used to construct a tree in the form of a hierarchical structure. Instead, the attributes and values have been used to build the rules. Okay, rules have been built. So once again, I want your confirmation with respect to your understanding up to this point of time. See, if you have not understood this, further flow will be meaningless. So I want your confirmation, and with your confirmation, I'll proceed further. If you have not understood, obviously, so I'll repeat, maybe to a fine grain level with much more detailing. So please give me your confirmation. So I'm expecting a confirmation with respect to your understanding of a rule-based classifier. What is a rule-based classifier? Its general form. What is there inside that general form? Each and every element. Did you understand? Please confirm. Hope my I mean, the audio is reaching you. One more thing. I had told you about the equals operator. Okay. If ID card equal to yes. Okay. If uniform equal to yes. Now don't think that OP can only have equal to. Other possibilities also there. You can use other logical operators also, like you have seen in programming languages. So not equal to, greater than, less than. So all these things can be utilized. Okay. Can be used in place of OP while you are constructing a rule for a classifier. Okay. So I had given you example of MIT student with ID card and uniform. One more example is there that you had already seen in the previous discussion. Okay. Once again, please give me confirmation. I'm not seeing any confirmation. With your confirmation, I'll be sure that the content is reaching you. So that is the reason I want confirmation. Okay. So this is the second example which we had already explored. It's not a new example. The problem was we should decide whether a new species that was identified was a mammal or a non-mammal. Okay. So based on our previous experiences, we had built a decision tree. Okay. That decision tree would help us decide whether the new species would belong to a mammal class or a non-mammal class. Okay. So how the decision tree was constructed, what attributes were identified, how the tree was taking us to different branches. All these things we had explored in detail in the previous sessions. Okay. So we had seen this in the context of a decision tree. Now it's time to see the same problem in the context of a rule-based classifier. Okay. Now, for this typical problem, if you use a rule-based classifier, how it may appear. So that is to give you an indicator of it. So I have written this, you can see. My requirement is I should decide whether the new species is a mammal or a non-mammal. Okay. So mammal or non-mammal will go towards the right-hand side. Why it will go towards the right-hand side in the rule? Just now we saw in the general form. Okay. Towards the right-hand side we have the class yi. You're seeing yi there. Okay. So the yi that you are seeing is nothing but the class. So this is the class. Now, for this situation that we are discussing, the class is whether it's a mammal or a non-mammal. Okay, so that is why you can see it is towards the right hand side. Since there was no space here, I have written it below. Okay, so this is the right hand side. Okay. Now coming towards the left hand side, this is my left hand side. So this left hand side is nothing but the condition that you are seeing. This condition. Okay. So this condition is my left hand side. Now the question here is, can I decide whether the new species is a mammal or not just by using one condition? So the answer to this question is no. Already we had seen this in decision tree. Just using one condition, you cannot decide it. Maybe you may require two conditions. The same has been written here. So you can see, I have condition number one here. So body temperature equal to warm blooded. Okay. So this is A1. What you are seeing as A1 here is this one. The operator is equal to, this is the operator, and V1 is the warm blooded, the value that is there with this attribute. Okay. This one single condition cannot help me decide whether it's a mammal or not. Okay, we had already seen that. I have condition number two. This is my condition number two. So to separate condition one with condition two, I have this AND. Okay. Now what is there in condition two? So this is A2. So gives birth. So the operator is equal to, so V2 value is yes. Okay. So if this rule is satisfying, we can declare it as a mammal without any hesitation. Okay. Now how we got to know about this? So we got to know about this through our previous observations, through the historical data. Okay. The same was used to construct the rule and build a classifier. So previously we had done it using a decision tree. Now we are doing it using the rules. Okay. So already I had told you rule will be something like this, if then. Okay. So if condition, if is nothing but the condition. The antecedent that I told you is nothing but the if part. Okay, the consequent or the class that I told you is nothing but the then part. That's it. Okay. So rule classifier is also called as the if then statement. Okay. So one more example is there. I think you can go through this example. This is an example of building a classifier. Okay, to identify whether a customer will buy a laptop or not. Okay. So I think you do analysis of this. So one major thing that is lacking is you doing the required analysis. You're not doing it. You're just repeating what is there. Okay, and that cannot ensure a detailed understanding of the subject. See that this was my observation when I saw answer scripts during second intervals. Okay, what is there? You'll just repeat. Okay, so that will take you nowhere. Come out with your analysis. Please do analysis on this part. Okay, so I'll leave it as an assignment. Whatever explanation was done, please analyze this and try to identify how rules have been constructed using the condition and the class. So this part already I explained where a rule is sitting. Once again, this we had understood. So the starting of module 4 we understood the classifier as sitting between the database, which is towards the left hand side, and the class, which is towards the right hand side. Okay, left hand side, right hand side. The classifier is sitting in between. Okay, so obviously where the rules will be. Okay. Rules are within the classifier. So meaning that rules will be sitting in between the database or the data set, which is towards the left hand side, and the class, which is there towards the right hand side. So given with a record, given with a new record, the rules will help me decide whether it belongs to class A or class B. So this was already explained. So we will see a few more aspects of rule-based classifier. Okay. So we have one more new term introduced to you called as conflicting rules. So what is a conflicting rule? So it's a basic understanding that a record should trigger a rule, okay, which will take you to a specific class. Okay, for example, a new record, that I just now gave as input to the classifier, which was trained on similar situation. Okay, so it should take me to either class A or class B. Now, what is happening in this situation? You just see the graphical representation I have written. Okay, and small correction here. The correction here is this is class A and this is class B. Written it as A here. So this is B, meaning that a different class. Now, what is your observation here? The observation is there is an ambiguity here. What is that ambiguity? A record is triggering rule 1, meaning that it is satisfying rule 1, meaning that this record should go and sit in which class? So it should go and sit within class A. Okay. But that was not the final point. One more thing is happening here. What is it? The same record is triggering rule 2. Okay. Because of which it is going and sitting inside class B. Now, do you agree it's a conflicting situation? Please understand a record can only go and sit inside one class. Okay, meaning that class A or class B. And to achieve this, it should only trigger appropriate rules which will take it to that class. For example, in this example that I have given here, this new record should only trigger either rule 1 or rule 2. Please understand, it should trigger only rule 1 or rule 2. But what is happening here? You can observe it is triggering both rule 1 and rule 2. That should not be the case. Okay. If such things are happening within your classifier, we call it as conflicting rules. That's it. Okay, you can see the heading here, conflicting rules. Okay. So rules which are taking a single record into different classes. Okay, that is conflicting rule. Once again, I want your confirmation whether you understood this, whether you understood what is conflicting rules. Okay, rules which are taking a record to different classes. That should not happen. A record should go and sit inside one class. Okay. In this specific instance, it should be either record class A or class B. Okay. Now we see a few properties or characteristics of a rule-based classifier. Okay, we have solution for the previous problem. Okay, so we have solution for it. What is that? We will see. Okay. The first one you are saying the first property of a rule-based classifier. Rules should be mutually exclusive. What do you mean by this? Okay. So I think if you read the statement and based on your previous understanding, things will be clear. So rules in a rule set are mutually exclusive if no two rules in R are triggered by the same record, which is taking you to a specific class. Okay. Meaning that a single record, for example, record 1, should not trigger both rule 1 and rule 2. Okay. If rule 1 is taking you to class A and rule 2 is taking you to class B, this should not happen. Okay. If this happens, then it is not mutually exclusive. It is not mutually exclusive. Now you may ask a question: does it mean that a record cannot trigger two rules at the same time? Okay, so the answer to this question is a record can trigger two rules at the same time. For example, in this situation, record 1 can trigger rule 1 and rule 2, provided what is the condition? The condition is both the rules should take it to one single class, that is class A. Okay, so if record 1 and record 2 is taking, sorry, if rule 1 and rule 2, okay, is taking a record to one single class, that is allowed, meaning that a record can trigger two rules. Okay, but the two rules should be pointing to the same class. Now, the situation that is represented in this depiction that you are seeing on the screen is a different case. What is that? Record 1 is triggering two rules, R1, R2. Okay, fine, it is accepted. Okay, nobody will have any objection for this. But objection will be introduced when R1 is taking this record to class A. Okay, R1 is pulling record 1 to class A and R2 is pulling record 1 to class B. And if this is the case, it is not mutually exclusive. Okay. Now we have a second situation called as second characteristics. Please understand we are studying properties of